You'll have to give us your address, Clayton, so we can send you something nice from New Zealand for consistently showing up.
It is funny because I do feel guilty when I miss y'all, and I'm like, everybody's kind of in the it's in the long phases of COVID, and you can tell that like meetings are one of those things where everybody's kind of like, yeah, I got this other meeting on top of the other meeting on top of the other meeting, and I can't blame people if they don't want to go to more meetings.
Yeah.
Let's do the meeting thing then.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Marian Kleinans, your host on 23rd of March 2021 for the conformance meeting. We are abiding to the CNCF Code of Conduct, which requires us to be our very best selves. So let's make this quick. Let me share my screen quickly. Share, and I want to share that screen there. Good. Everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Over there. There we are. Okay. I think I'm gonna skip over the deflaking thing for the moment, Stephen. So let's first get to
Other than to say,
Sorry?
a very quick thing. Thank you, Clayton, for the initial feedback on the flake stuff. They found an issue to do with the volume manager was having a really weird edge case, and there's some tickets in there. But also the test did actually have an issue around trying to start a container with the wrong command that didn't exist. So it just seemed to.
So it's a twofer. We found a real bug and we fixed the test. That's like the best possible outcome.
Yeah. It's good to see lots of people and Michelle from SIG Storage getting in and helping out. So it was awesome. Radio, back to you, Rian.
Okay, sorry, I thought I'll jump to the PRs. I think those need some attention now.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We can have a look at the first one quickly. Run that past you, Clayton. The in-slice promotion, good thing that merged. I don't know if you saw in the channel, no technical debt, lots of things that got all tests that got new conformance tests, or old endpoints, new conformance tests, a really good run there. And that one we don't have to discuss, already merged yesterday. I didn't take it off.
Number of GA endpoints we've seen ever in one release.
Really got done well. Okay, let's first go to this test. Basically, diamond set status test. You want to discuss that, Stephen? Should I open the code for you?
If we just flick to the Ginkgo test link.
There we are.
This is going through and it does the status endpoint for patching all the conditions. It updates all the conditions and then it looks at patching. The problem is right at, this is the daemon set one.
No, this is the daemon set one, which should be fine.
This is looking pretty good. This one's on track, I think, without any real issues that I'm aware of. The only problem is it's the API registration one that I really want to get some feedback from Clayton, if it's possible.
Okay, so this one, Clayton, we followed much the status arrangements as John proposed it. And if you're good, you don't see any obvious glaring reasons why we shouldn't, I'm going to put that in the PR and mark it for the next release.
I'm just looking through it. I think there's a few subtle things, but I think these are good tests and they cover it. The one thing that I was thinking about while I was looking at this was, you said you copied this from another status test, or did we actually expand a test with status that was specific about feedback from daemon sets?
This was, I'd gone through a whole lot of scenarios with John for the service status and
Okay.
picking up that. And because I'm solely doing conditions, the reason why is because it just means I've got a generic way of doing all of them for any resource, and also the API service endpoints have nothing but conditions available under status.
So the one thing that I would actually ask that we add to this and potentially API service would be adding a label or an annotation from the status endpoint. So status supports metadata updates as well. And there are a few components that depend on it. It'd be good to, maybe we just add a comment and get John to weigh in too. So I can go add that, but that would be my only thing, which is condition is absolutely great to test. The logic looks fine. And then my only one would be, we potentially should be verifying that metadata is mutable on the off chance that somebody goes and shims it out and then doesn't do that right. But I don't think we have to block this test on that. We can always just add it afterwards.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good. Thank you very much,
That's great.
Clayton. Stephen, I think that should unblock us to make that PR with a minor update.
Yeah, once we get looking at the comments and stuff, I'll see if it's worth tweaking the test as is.
Thanks, Clayton. Okay, the next one is a test that does need some attention. API service status. There's also a status test. Take you to the Ginkgo test, or you first want to go to the
Yeah,
comments
Ginkgo
here?
test for now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, if you scroll down a little bit further.
Sorry, let me do the Ginkgo test in a new tab.
And then we'll come back to look at the output.
Okay, good. So let's go to the Ginkgo test. It will allow me to do that. I don't know why it doesn't. Open it in another tab.
Does it have a pull request or is it still just a branch?
It's just a branch at the moment. Okay, so if we come down,
The line shift 546 loads.
yeah.
Usually it pops down there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was waiting for it to pop down, and it just doesn't. There's something strange going on with my browser.
Okay,
Guys.
so the existing test above it was extra 3 endpoints that I added in the last test. And here I'm looking at patching the API service so that it's got a label so I can then start a watch against it. I patch the service, if we scroll down a little bit further, I then patch I update the conditions. And then I start to watch them. That works perfect. And then I look at doing a patch, and then that works okay. And then it scrolled right to the very end of the highlighted section. Then it goes back to the default test where, sorry, a little bit further down, Rian. Where it then starts to clean up the test. What happens if we go back to the mock test, Rian?
It doesn't allow me to use my other tabs, which is odd. Let's try that. There we are.
If we scroll down a little bit in my test output, it works everything through, and then when it starts to delete it, it's coming back with the server is currently unable to handle the request. From my research, that links back to a 503 request, and something seems to be just not ready to be able to start doing the delete. But if I add in about a 600 millisecond sleep, it works absolutely perfect, not a problem. And I'm just wondering is there a way to happily get things to resync without needing to worry about doing a sleep?
If there's a watch or something missing, to wait until the API server exposes that new API service for it to be able to understand how to delete it. And then you're hitting it. Go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
No, that's about all I had my thoughts on it. I don't know the underlying details, but it feels
Okay,
like
so
that.
actually, yep, that's probably it. And so this is identical to another problem that we have. So, okay, so an API service, to actually hit the underlying, where are you starting the server for it? Where's the code that runs the actual API server under the covers, Wordle?
That is all back in that aggregator. It's standard test that started in 117.
Okay,
I believe.
I got it pulled up here, so I'm just,
Yep.
okay, yeah, so this is actually almost identical to another problem we have. Although it's weird because where do we start it? We started it. Oh, you're patching it.
So the test has already created the resources for the V1 alpha Wordle example.com.
At
That's already been
476.
Yeah, that's already been taken earlier in the test. And I'm just trying to clean up the last set of endpoints for status.
This
And
is
one of these
super
is
weird. So here's my working theory. So the API service is created. You're able to create a resource. Then you patch it by a status and it blips. I bet you this is actually a cube bug. The API server should be up and running. The API service is registered. Patching and adding a new condition should have no impact on the API service. And I bet it does, because I bet there's a bug in the API aggregation stuff. So this is a SIG API machinery bug that they need to look into. I'd probably say it's actually really good that if it's the simple thing, like it could be other reasons, but like if this is consistently flaking or reasonably consistent and you add a sleep, I think what's actually happening is when you patch it, the code that's supposed to be like, it sees a change, and instead of ignoring the change because the change doesn't behavior, I think it's taking the API server out and putting it back in, which is horrifically bad. If that's actually the case, it might be something more subtle. So I would probably say, you've got a reproducer. You definitely don't want the sleep. I think this has found a bug. Let's get somebody from SIG API machinery to look at it. There are some things we have to do. So there's another thing going on right now. If you're running HA API servers, when you make a resource available, you have to wait until it's on all 3 API servers. That's actually very complex to do because, you know, if you're talking to Cube behind a load balancer, you can't actually say like, I want to talk to 1, 2, or 3. Lukash is actually working on an improvement to the test because we're putting this in conformance, like this is in conformance, like it's just a bug in the test framework. There may be something where it's also possible that in HA server, you'd get a different set of flakes that would show up like this. But I'll have him come along after you guys, and we're trying to get something generic in. That's not, it's almost certainly has no impact on what this issue is. I think this is just a straight up, I would probably describe it as when we patch the status of the API service, the aggregated API briefly stops allowing requests to go through. That should absolutely not happen. I haven't seen this, but I bet you nobody's patched a API service and made an API call. So we've actually probably found a pretty serious bug that we should have caught a long time ago.
That sounds cool. It was just interesting that because each of my replace and patch, I'm actually doing a watch afterwards to make sure that I do actually see those conditions and they both work. But out of about a run of about 5 runs with no sleep, that ends up killing the test. So I probably get about 5 or so. Sorry, two flakes out of about 5 runs. So yeah, it's pretty consistently flaking. Sorry, I had a random phone call.
Yeah.
So I think
I would just describe the
get a
scenario. Yeah, let's get a bug open, and I'm pretty sure that we'll just find something that'll take some time to fix. Once we know what the issue is, I think we can decide whether to work around it with a sleep or not. But from a conformance perspective, I would say that if you update the status with an unrelated condition, it is a violation of conformance for your API server to stop being available. So we'll just have to sort through it. But yeah, let's get a bug open and get someone in SIG API machinery to take a look at it. Or let's talk to somebody in SIG, let's ask in SIG API machinery. It's almost certainly an issue. I don't think there's any reason not to create the issue right now.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for your time,
Thanks.
Clayton. We'll give you a tour when the meeting is shorter.
Yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ciao. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good job, Stephen. I think then we can close this meeting. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thank you.